Okay, our next speaker is Zayin Neumann, and he's going to talk to us about shamanism and the evolution of consciousness. After that, we'll have a discussion here and a discussion with Valerie Stone via Skype in the library. So.
I promise to keep it to less than 20 minutes.
Less than 20 minutes.
And I think I'm going to dedicate this talk to the body and to the earth. And so if we need to stand up and stretch, you can do so. But please don't talk to your neighbor because I'm going to start. But feel free to move a little bit and stretch it out a little bit. And by way of starting, I'm going to ask, by a show of hands, how many people believe in evolution? So there's most everybody, and certainly some people who didn't raise their hand. I'm sure there's interesting conversations there. When I was about 13 years old, I found myself in a room of about 70 people after a volleyball tournament that a local church had organized. And the person leading this group asked that same question. And out of 70 people, I was the only person in that room to raise my hand. And you can imagine the tension that that created in that room. Because I knew that this was true. And they knew that if this was true, maybe their tradition had become antiquated or needed to be forgotten, or somehow that this intuition relegated what they believed to be something of the past. And so I'm going to ask another question, and I'm going to ask by a show of hands again, how many people think that shamanism is somehow less evolved than, say, Buddhism?
Than what?
Buddhism.
Maybe I'll put it another way. How many people... Exactly. So now the tension comes in the room, right? How many people, by a raise of hands, think that Buddhism, let's say, has transcended and included shamanism? So somehow there's this tension that I've felt for a long time. Because evolution, which I am deeply committed to, has been associated with a line, with a spiral. And there's somewhere in there where it doesn't allow the full wisdom of our being to come into play. And so I'm here to speak for evolution, because through that intuition of evolution, there's some way in which I have touched the depth of my indigenous soul. Some way through that intention that I'm in touch with something that's far beyond anything I'll ever understand in this lifetime. And at the same time, I'm connected to this instinctual drive, this raw power. And I can feel the importance of the story and those tender connections. And I have this clear vision. And at the same time, there's, much like consciousness itself, I am free to inhabit any place that I am. And so evolution in some way is key, is a wisdom from another place that has been associated, unfortunately, with a line, with a spiral. And so, in some ways, it's done a little bit of damage, but I'm here to sort of defend this intuition. By way of kind of digging a little deeper, I want to talk about the line. And so I'll ask everyone to just kind of imagine for a moment an arrow pointing out in front of you, giving you direction, going somewhere. And I want you to wonder, what kind of wisdom is that? Or maybe imagine a flashlight, and wherever you point it, whatever you look at, you can see. What kind of wisdom is that? But you have to be careful, because if you try to point it everywhere, there won't be any mystery. And in many ways, we've disassociated from all of our relations. From the elements, we've disassociated from our lineages, our ancestors. And at the same time, there's a kind of excitement to that, like we're going somewhere. We can see something. And so we've struggled with our PowerPoint throughout the conference. And yet, as we struggle with it, we've gained something. The fabric of the world has changed. There's some way in which we can go meet our neighbor on the other side of the world, not through some kind of dream time travel. We can do this through an airplane rendezvous, and that's amazing. And on the other side, just to sort of add a contrast, there's an indigenous wisdom that suggests that the world is cyclical in nature, that there are these natural rhythms, that our purpose is about relation. It's about meeting another. There's a deep, deep wisdom in that kind of time, in that cyclical time. It's one in which our entire purpose is to remember all of our relations. Our entire purpose is to feed the great story, to keep it alive, happening again and again. And so we're left with a couple of things here, because if all evolution is a line or a spiral, there's no way in which it will ever include all the things that it would like to include. It can't help but do a little bit of damage. And at the same time, if all there is cyclical time, our indigenous wisdom, you see, it can't fully integrate. It can't fully honor this wisdom that has come from another place. It's the wisdom that we're all searching for in this conference, this new earth that we've talked about. Evolution is a particular kind of key, and it is a very rare opportunity for all of these wisdoms to begin to be in conversation with one another.